Whoa, that was sudden. Didn't mean to do that, but evidently I accidentally clipped the wrong button. So we're starting a few seconds early tonight. Mea culpa. Um, I'm Dan Hollifield. Welcome to Last Man Standing, the clumsiest guy on YouTube, apparently. And tonight I have with me Rich and Mike and Aunt Donna. And I have also
Good
sent out an
morning.
invitation to Kerry, but we don't know what his schedule's like, so I don't know if he's going to show up. But if so, the more the merrier. Uh, hmm.
Now what?
I don't have the faintest idea. I really don't. There are things that I still am finding out about this little piece of software. Um, One day I might just figure it out, but then again, haven't the foggiest. It would be nice. Let's just say that it would be really nice if I
But
could master this little program.
well, the moment you
But
do, StreamYard's going to change something.
Yeah.
oh, of course, of course. But until that time,
Yep. That sounds about right.
You've been hanging around Joe Dog too long.
that's debatable. Or has Joe Dog been hanging around me too long? At least I'm polite enough not to rickroll everybody.
That's
Ah,
true.
mm.
Yeah. Yeah. And Kiri got Uncle Carl.
Oh yeah,
Oh boy.
I saw that. Oh, did Carl go to bed already, or should I send him an invite too?
No, he's in bed.
Okay, kind of figured. Um, in any case, yeah, as I said on Stupid O'clock, I'm going to have to go back on swing shift to train more new quality control people, and they they tell me it's short term, but it wound up the last time this happened was uh in between Halloween and Christmas last year,
Ah.
and two of the three people I was helping train then have just got other jobs in the factory.
Mm,
So now I have to train their replacements. Now, I'm
of
not the only
course.
one doing the training, but they want
Yeah.
me pretty much to be on the 12-hour rotating shift rather than just with them on day shift. So we'll find out how that goes. The paperwork is going to take a little while to go through. It probably won't be fully enforced until next Saturday night, but it really depends on how fast my supervisor can get the paperwork processed. I do have to refuse to work 12 hours tomorrow on day shift because Lindsay's got her church group goes and does the teacher's aid stuff at a local
Mm,
elementary school. And now that we're pet sitting, she's afraid to. We can't leave the dog in the house because it's a big dog,
mm,
and she's afraid to leave it out in the dog pen with our outdoor cats because we are close enough to the road to where somebody drives by and sees a German Shepherd puppy in a dog pen and no
yeah.
cars in the driveway. That dog might wind up in a some kind of a dog fighting
Mm-hmm.
thing. I mean, people around here, I hate to say it, but there are some unprincipled scoundrels around, and no no pet is safe from that kind of person,
Yeah.
and no person is safe from that kind of person either. So that's one of the few drawbacks to living out in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy living in the country, but it does mean that security is something you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As when seconds count, the police are 20 minutes away,
Mm-hmm.
especially if there's nobody here to find out that a crime has been committed until 2 or 3 hours later.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So, um, so every Monday, Lindsay goes to this nearby elementary school, be a teacher's aide with the young kids, and she just absolutely loves it. And some of them are in her. Uh, they actually do attend the same church that she does, so she sees them on Sundays in the Sunday school or the nursery or whatever. But she also sees them Mondays on the at their elementary school, and she doesn't want anything to interrupt that.
Hmm.
And I don't
Understandable.
either. I
Yeah.
don't either, because it's she's really great with kids. So
It's a good
No,
way to
I
get out
thought
of
you.
the
I
house.
thought you were going to say that somebody would end up with a new pet because that's how I got my first German Shepherd.
we're hoping that is not what has happened.
Mm-hmm.
Someone from the church asked us to pet sit for a cat and a dog,
Mm.
and the cat is the next best thing to feral,
Mm-hmm.
and the dog is it's a great big puppy and
Hmm.
very affectionate and but very hyper.
It's a puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've had to baby proof the house when we
Mm-hmm.
didn't anticipate that. We thought it was a little bit of an older, more uh, um,
Mature,
no, more
sedate.
trained. I think
Ah,
is the word I'm going for. Um, I
puppy
would even
training
go
is
so far as to
important.
say more housebroken, but
Ah,
Mm,
yes, yeah.
puppy training is incredibly important. It should be
yes.
mandatory.
Hmm.
That's one thing I like about cats. They house train themselves.
Pretty much, yeah, unless they're
Yeah,
ornery.
Kind of.
kind of. Yeah. I mean,
Although I was a little concerned the other morning, um, Friday morning, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, after having passed a bad night of pain, I'd finally gotten to sleep, and I rolled over, and my leg hit this cold, wet spot on the bed.
oh no.
And I'm like, of course, I jump up, but in looking at it, it was beautifully round, about that big,
Mm-hmm.
just perfectly round circle. And as Carl and I looked at it, it's like, okay, that it didn't smell. It was just wet and cold. Yeah, Charcoal had evidently spent some time in Carl's bathroom sink before coming and laying down on the bed and drying off on
Ah.
the bed because it was the perfect kitty cat size circle.
Mm-hmm.
It still was unsettling at that time in the morning.
Yeah, if you're just about falling asleep and you roll over and get that, it's not fun.
Mm.
Um, I had a Nordic bush cat who did exactly the same. And yeah, he liked it when the water trickled down as well. Those things have hairs that are like 4 inches long.
Mhm.
They hold a lot of water.
Yep, you wouldn't believe that there are breeds of cat that can act like a sponge, but there are.
And some of them actually like it for some reason, which is even
Mhm.
weirder.
Well, we lock our shower door as a sliding door by putting a piece of towel between the two doors so that Calvin can't open it by himself because they both like going in the shower,
Hmm.
whether there's water coming down or not. It's like, really? It was bad enough when it was just Calvin, but Charcoals decided, yeah, she likes that shower too.
Oh, we had one that thought the bathtub was a gravelless litter box.
Ah,
Mm.
That's unpleasant when you're in a rush and you want to take a shower or a bath and get ready to go someplace. And the curtain has been hiding the
hmm.
unexpected minefield. Um,
That's better than going on your rug, though.
Yeah, Barry caught a switch in this morning. I'm sitting there. I'm like, "What's wrong with you, buddy? Why are you standing like that? What, you mother?" He was peeing on the wall, 2 foot from the doorway that leads him to his litter box.
mhm.
Uh huh.
So he keeps that up. Misty is going to say, "You know what? You are the perfect size for a punting.
Mhm.
Where's the field goal?"
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
is he helped? I mean,
we don't have regular litter boxes. Our boy Blue was a Siamese and the size of a small dog, and he didn't mean to pee on the bathroom wall where his in the corner where his litter box was. He was just too big
mm,
to keep it in the box. So we bought some of those huge totes that have the little opening like that.
Mhm.
You know, so and we got two of those, one for upstairs and one for downstairs for him, so that he wouldn't he wouldn't pee on the wall. And incidentally, cat urine takes paint off very easily.
Mhm.
yes. But if it's a guy and he hasn't been neutered, he will do that to spray around his musk. And it's going to be territorial. If he
Mm-hmm.
starts doing that, get him neutered, it will solve the problem because otherwise it's not going to stop.
Oh, every time all our cats got neutered just as soon as they were old enough.
Yeah, they made
Good.
us neuter Barry before we could adopt the dog. So
Yeah, but no, Carl. Dan was talking about the German Shepherd. We got our first German Shepherd. A friend said, "I know somebody's wanting to get rid of their German Shepherd. Go to this address, and he'll meet you there. And if you like the dog, you can have him."
Hmm.
Well, it was a closed gas station, and we pulled around back where okay, there's the dog. He's chained up. Water bowl's dry, food dishes empty,
Hmm.
and he is just so happy to see us.
And nobody around.
Nobody
Yep.
around. We waited. Nobody showed up, and we're like, well, let you know, open the car door, and right in he went. He was ready to go with us, and we're like, okay, well, we either got the dog we were meant to, or we stole somebody's guard dog.
Uh, yeah.
But yeah, he needed to come with us anyway if they weren't going to feed and water him.
Mhm.
But he was our dog from then on. You did not dare do anything to mom and myself. Mom and dad were out feeding some of the animals one time, and this was in the winter. And dad decided that mom needed to be in the snowbank. So he grabbed her and he started pushing her in the snow. And of course, you squeal. And dad says, oh, it's a good thing he was wearing insulated coveralls because Schultz, yes, my German Shepherd was named Sergeant Schultz. What else would you name a German Shepherd? Yeah, right on right on his behind.
Well,
Yeah.
I have raised a variety of indoor and outdoor dogs, and this one is definitely of a size that I would consider to be an outdoor dog and have a large enough dog house and everything else. Um, now the cable runs are not legal in this county, but we have 6 foot tall chain link fence all around the side yard and the backyard.
Mm.
Matter of fact, the inside the chain link fence is actually more square feet than inside the house. And there are large scale dog houses scattered around um, inside the fence, and they're basically they have been used by several cats at one time. Hey, what they do on their off time is their own business.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
It's we have cats that have decided that they did not want to live in the house. We have cats that have decided that they want to live on the front porch, which is screened in, and the door stays propped open so that they can go out in the yard, and they pretty much have proved that they will stay away from the road, which makes us feel a whole lot better. And the only thing that they have to worry about with the door propped open is the occasional raccoon or possum pretending to be a cat in the middle of the night. So
Yeah.
Lindsay's got in the habit of collecting the food bowls
Hmm.
before bedtime, so that there's no temptation for woodland creatures to come
Yeah.
in. And Kimber is over knee high, and she is still very, very young. I mean, still very much a puppy. She's just a really big puppy.
Hmm.
Now, I have taken care of my oldest boy's pit bull from time to time. Matter of fact, I was a midwife to my oldest boy's pit bull, helped
Hmm.
her deliver her little babies out on that same front porch before it was screened in. And that was a learning experience, but I had read up on the theory at least, so I knew what to do when the time came, and the signs all pointed to that direction. Um, she did need a little help there with the fourth and fifth one. I mean, yeah, I had to get down on hands and knees and give her a good tight hug to where she could push because she was tired.
Hmm.
Yeah.
After the first three, she was really tired, so she needed the help to get the last two out. Um, and then nature took its course, and everything was fine. They all were fine, healthy puppies. Um, my boy made sure that they found a good home, and Kiri being a smartass again. Oh, that's why we love you, boy.
You don't believe
Oh,
you didn't get the keyboard? You did, however, get my nasal passages.
Ah,
Aphelions Irish Red does not go through the nasal passages and not leave scars.
Oh, you're lucky it's not a pimento cheese sandwich. Otherwise, one of the nuns would have had to give you a debriefing. That's a miracle right there. Oh, yes, I've spent too much time entirely listening to George Carlin. Uh,
never, never too much time.
oh,
Never enough time,
you really. Him and oh, bugger. Why can't I remember the man's name? I love him. It's
Robin Williams, Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor. Uh, he could tell a story really well. And even though I never lived uh, extensively in large cities, the parts of smaller cities that I lived in, I could still um, relate. There were enough commonalities there. Uh,
Richard Pryor elevated the art of comedy from telling jokes to telling stories.
mm,
Between
yes,
him
he did.
and George Carlin, it became more of an exercise in philosophy than anything else.
Uh, I threw Rodney Dangerfield in there too, but he told shorter stories.
Yeah.
That was kind of borderline between jokes and stories, but
there we go.
I was blessed in being able to grow up with being exposed to some of the finest up and coming comedians of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever. Because I paid a lot of attention, um, and variety shows were a thing back in the day. And I actually got to see George Carlin in a suit and tie before he let his hair down, so to speak.
What there was of it.
Hey, at that time, but he branched out. He grew and evolved.
That's one way of putting it.
Oh Lord! And having grown up on late night talk shows, which is why I'm doing this now, because Johnny Carson was one of my heroes. Um, Lord, got to see a huge variety of things. Even when I was a child and late night talk shows were not particularly the norm, there were still the Sunday night variety shows
Hmm.
like Ed Sullivan, Ted Mack, things like that, where you got to see a lot of talent in a lot of different areas. And I still can't figure out how those guys were spinning them plates. That and that was before super glue was invented. So now I've seen Gallagher do it, but he cheats. He's got a little hinged thing on the bottom of the plate the stick goes in, so it won't fall off.
A lot of practice.
Oh yeah.
Practice, yeah.
Uh,
Centrifugal energy is
mm,
very
it's
useful.
stout. It's stout. It can be dangerous. Um, Actually, one of the rides at Six Flags Over Georgia is a centrifuge, and
Hmm.
you troop in. It's about 15-20 yards across, 15-20 meters for our
I know what a yard is.
English measurement friends that are challenged. Yeah, yeah. I keep waiting for conversion from centigrade to Fahrenheit or vice versa to be automatic. I write stuff like that on my spreadsheet. But in any case, you trooped into this centrifuge, and it is below ground. So you walk down a flight of stairs, go in, door gets shut, room starts spinning. Uh, Now, being a teenager, I have experienced that before, but this was the first time that the room was actually spinning. And
Yep.
so it finally reaches enough RPMs to where you are pinned to the wall and it becomes a floor and you're lying on your back. And
Hmm.
then the fun part of the ride is what used to be the floor moves away from your feet and you are still pinned to the spinning surface.
And
And
the
it
key
goes and
was
goes and goes, but
Hmm.
to always, as you can feel gravity bringing you towards the edge, flipping yourself upside down, so you get to experience it upside down.
I've never been that bold.
We
There,
They're
did that
illegal in the
all the
Netherlands. I know
time.
that much because I've never seen one in my life, but I do know they exist.
the thing was there are a couple of smart Alecs in my school class that was on that particular trip that day. They actually pulled their feet up and bent their knees and tried to stand up to be
Yeah,
standing on the outer edge of the centrifuge, but they never quite made it. They weren't that strong. But,
that takes a lot of G forces.
hmm
Hmm.
but that was a much more fun ride than the parachute drop,
Mm.
Mm-mm.
which was also at the same park.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Yeah, free falls are not fun.
that was the
Free
first time
fall
I
is fun. The sudden stop sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the first time I had ever experienced free fall that wasn't on a highway, and
fair.
uh, blasted thing. I mean, it had a parachute. I could see it. It was not something I had to deploy. It was built into the ride. Strapped
Yeah.
me into a chair, which and not well. It was kind of partially in a fun way, but went up in the air about 100 yards, 150
Hmm.
yards, and we're just sitting there. I could see the other people on the ride going, maybe this was a mistake.
What
And
did we
then
get ourselves into?
they let go of the clutch on the ropes that hoisted us up and free fall.
Hmm.
I was never so glad to feel gravity again as
Yeah.
when the clutch kind of started slowing us down before we um, imitated Wile E. Coyote falling off a cliff because the Roadrunner went beep beep behind him.
Mm,
Um, I did that one time and I go, maybe I should reconsider that astronaut thing. Not going to
yeah.
send in the job
Yeah.
application for that one. No, no, nope, nope.
No, not for everybody.
No, not at all. And then years later, they came up with one that was basically the same ride, but you were in an elevator.
Oh, that
So
is worse.
Mm.
instead of having a parachute above your head, which you know would, if the cable broke, you could figure out how to glide the darn thing. No, you're in an elevator.
Oh,
It goes up
Lord.
and it goes up and it goes up and it goes up, and then it drops.
Hmm.
And you have to trust that whoever built this thing paid attention to the safety mechanisms applied to an Otis elevator.
So, having dated someone who worked at American theme parks, they had two rules. You never go to Six Flags, and Disney is a lot more fun. Because apparently Six Flags has daily accidents and like they just don't care about upkeep.
Daily? Hourly?
Pretty much, no, and I'm talking about the employees, not even the people in the
Oh,
rides.
oh, okay.
So, like, even the employees lose limbs once in a while
Hmm.
because safety measures are not being taken care of.
You've got to remember, this is the U.S. The shop teachers have only three fingers on either hand.
Yeah,
Uh, Safety is only
optional.
recently become important. Used to, it wasn't optional. It was your own damn responsibility.
Mhm.
Um, if there was something dangerous going on and you didn't watch out, that's your fault.
Yep.
Oh, I do love roller coasters, though.
Mm-mm.
Entirely different animal roller coasters.
Yes.
You are strapped into a comfy chair and thrown through what feels like seven different dimensions instead of the usual three
Mm-hmm.
at 60 or 70 miles an hour at Six Flags over Georgia. They bragged about one of the roller coasters actually did hit 60. And
We
then they
got one of
warn
those
you
too.
not to raise your hands up over your head because when you got to the bottom, it went under a low roof.
Mm-hmm.
And they would tell you horror stories about having to go pick up somebody's hands in order
Yep.
to send them to the hospital with the ambulance because they got lopped off in transit. And then every single one of us knew it was bull.
Mm-hmm.
No place would have that kind of safety violation that wasn't being run by the U.S. government because they don't care about safety.
Yeah, we have very strict safety regulations, thankfully. Because yeah, no, that no. Um,
Yeah, I mean, you're sitting there on the roller coaster. You've had your scream-inducing ride. Everything is just fine and dandy. If you were in the tail end of the roller coaster train of cars, you actually could feel it leave the track, and you could look down on the front end and go,
mhm,
"This is like a scorpion's tail, isn't it? If I
mhm,
make the slightest move, I'm gonna die." And then
mhm.
it slams back down, and you go through the rest of the ride, and everything's fine. You go under the part where they tell you it's going to chop your hands off, and you go, "That's 15 feet in the air. My arms aren't that long.
Yeah,
This is only taking up 5 feet."
there is one roller coaster in. It used to be Six Flags. Now it's back to being Walibi. Theme parks just keep changing names, but the rides are always the same. So it is 45 meters high. Times three, that's 135 feet,
Hmm.
and it reaches a top speed of like, yeah, probably 60 miles an hour. And it just keeps climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. And at like halfway, you're like, am I going to have a ride or what? That ride is so fast, it's not even funny anymore.
Hmm.
And it's so high, you just don't experience anything other than the first drop. After that, it's just, you know, 10 seconds and you're back in the in the parking lot, and you're like, okay, this was a thing. I don't know what happened, but I think I did a time skip.
Yeah, really. That's one reason why I like the smaller roller
Yes,
coasters. They are slow enough that they can make all kinds of turns and
yes,
whatnot, and the ride lasts. Uh, to your perception, it lasts longer. It may be the exact same length of time as the ultra fast ones, but it seems to last longer.
yeah.
And it's more like I'm sitting in a seat on an airplane that's doing stunts. Okay, I can deal with that.
That's why I
Um,
No.
love wooden
Woo,
roller
woo, woo,
coasters
woo.
and kiddie coasters, because they're relaxed, they just do their round,
Hmm.
and you still get a little bit of that negative G force, but you're having way more fun. And usually
Yeah.
those rides last longer. They actually do. Like you're talking 15 seconds on a high speed one versus 45 to a minute on on the longer wooden ones, or just the relaxing ones, and they're way more fun. They're
Hmm.
usually themed as well. There is one in our biggest theme park, Efteling, that is completely in the dark, and it's like 30 seconds, and it's completely in the dark. So you do feel like you're going fast. You're probably not going over 30 miles an hour, and you're going through a theme. You're going through a movie while you're doing it,
Hmm.
Hmm.
with actual animatronics still, because this ride is 40 years old or so.
Yeah.
So much more fun. I
Oh
got my
yeah.
mom to join in that one.
I've been on one. It was the early days of IMAX. They hadn't even decided to call it IMAX yet, but it was this huge screen, and the cars were going through nice, slow, sedate pace.
Yeah,
But when something happened on the screen, they'd jiggle the cars a little bit
yeah,
or tilt them a little bit, and your sense of perception would tie in to what you were seeing on the screen.
yeah,
So it felt like you were actually accelerating and swerving and all this other stuff when you were basically just going down a straight track.
yeah.
The actual seat you were in was just bobbing and weaving a little bit. And I had never experienced that before, and I'm going, this sensory um not deprivation, but definitely um
Augmentation.
disguise.
Yeah.
You would feel the seat you were in do things that if you tied it into the visuals were much more dramatic than what it would have been if you were just going through a room with no pictures.
One of my favorite rides is getting into a room, and you're just sitting in the seats, and the seats move a little bit, but the ceiling and the walls can also turn separately. So after a while, you're going backwards a little bit, and you're seeing, the entire room swirling around you like you're doing a, just a full 360. It is such a weird experience,
Oh,
because the only thing you're strapped to is literally one single bar going over your legs. You get like four or five people in one booth, and then the room is like 50 feet long. Um, and it's one of it's all an optical illusion, obviously, but it's so much fun.
Mm.
there
I'll
was
take your word for it. I'll be
there
right
was an,
back.
there was another one that wasn't an optical illusion. It was actually a the size of an actual pirate ship,
Mm.
and it would swing back and forth
Oh
and
yeah,
back
no,
and
those
forth.
are very popular still. Yeah,
And at the tail end, just before they let you off, it would actually go a complete 360.
Oh yeah.
And you're at the top of the arc, looking down at the ground and going, this could have been a mistake. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah.
How much is this bar rated for?
Really.
That is one of my favorite. Like that is such a classic ride, though. At least in Europe. Like that is one of the things I always. I think my mom actually has a picture of me being in it. Because we went to a theme park not too long in June for her birthday.
Hmm. Oh,
And let me see.
oh, okay.
Please don't share my screen yet, because
Oh, tell me when. I mean, I was about to share the other one, knowing what it was, but
uh,
was waiting on Donna to get back.
Mom, where are your pictures? What the hell? Or is this an old? No. Where are her pictures? Or is it in WhatsApp? Uh, doot, 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 doot. Ah, there we go. There we are.
All right. You ready?
Yeah,
Add
no, you can share
add
it.
to stream.
So here I am, and it's going fast. Like I can't believe she actually managed to get this one. But yeah, this thing doesn't go um, a full loop, but it gets to like 135 degrees or something. It's getting there, and they're so much fun.
Oh yeah. I didn't say it wasn't fun.
Let's see.
Yeah, Six Flags Great America has one shaped like the space shuttle, I believe,
Yeah,
and the county fairs around here where I grew up, they're usually shaped like a Viking longboat.
yeah. Viking longboats, spaceships,
I've seen some
all
pirate
kinds of things.
ships. Yeah, it's um, they're fun. I enjoy
Yeah.
them.
There's one at the Rocket Park in Huntsville. Basically, um, I knew exactly what it was when it started its ride. Uh, the seats did not move except when the platform it was on moved, but it was basically what would it feel like to be on the space shuttle during reentry?
Mm.
And you are sitting there with a crowd of people, and all of a sudden the floor raises up, and you're doing the braking maneuver to get the heat shields down to where you can re-enter, and it drops a little bit and it shudders a little bit, and you go through all this with the sound effects and everything else, and then it gently drops back down. The ride is over, and I go, that was a dump truck. I used to drive a dump truck. I know what
Okay, I can't do. I'm afraid of heights. I can't do roller coasters, but I do like like Epcot has the Pirates of the Caribbean,
Mm-hmm.
where you go inside and it's a very very gentle roller
Yeah.
coaster, or the
Do you like
haunted
the
house,
Haunted
or
Mansion?
huh?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the Haunted Mansion?
The haunted mansion. It's a small world. The last time I was down there, they had a new one that was Viking uh, Viking history,
Hmm.
which was cool. You actually got in one shaped like a longboat, and it was cool. It was very cool to go through.
Yep.
So,
Last
fun
time I was
fact.
there, they still had the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea,
Hmm.
and that was neat. I don't know if it actually went underwater, but they had the effect of the bubble you were in
Yeah.
being covered with water. So it could have been, as far as I know, a car wash, but it looked and felt like you were actually diving underwater. So I don't,
Hmm.
I know I've never looked into the details of it, but it was fun, but it was very low speed, very gentle. It did bob up and down a little bit on the rails, and you could tell it was on rails because you could see them out the front.
Yeah.
But
So, a fun little fact: the Pirates of the Caribbean ride is based on a ride in the theme park that I went to with my mom in June.
ah,
Um, it is based on the 1001 Arabian Nights
mm,
in the Netherlands. My American ex and I went in because the friend that invited us to go to that theme park back in 2017 was like, "That is such a fun ride." My ex looked around and went, "Holy crap, this is racist as all hell, and I'm going through the Pirates of the Caribbean." Because the ride is like 55 years old.
Hmm.
We are very classic in our storytelling abilities because we're in Europe. We don't care. It's historically accurate.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been in Pirates of the Caribbean in Disneyland and Disney World, and it's funny how they were the same but different.
Hmm.
Like, because I'm going by and going, that wasn't in the other one, or I'm just going, well, where's the? Nope, they're not. It's not here. But at least the one in Epcot doesn't have real bodies.
Ah, fair.
Now, one of the more fun things at Six Flags Over Georgia was not actually a theme ride. It was the cable cars that would
Mm.
take you from one side of the park to another. Because and they crossed over. There was one going north south, one going east west,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
they were much more fun than some of the rides actually, because you were way up over the park. You could see everything, and you could look up and you could see that your life depended on this metal spider web somebody
Mhm.
spun up here.
Yeah. When we went to Disney World, I was 16 because I helped drive on the way out. Um, we visited my mom's one of my mom's girlfriends from high school. She was living out there in Downey, about a block and a half away from Disney.
I
So
mean,
her sons, about my age, like, gotta take you to Disney.
Mm.
They would go almost every day, so they knew
hmm
when to go to what places to avoid the lines.
Uh,
So that was great. And then after we went to all the rides, he took us up on the monorail, and it was really cool to go by and go, oh, there's Adventureland. It looks so much different from up here.
hmm
But yeah, I love the monorail as much as any of the other rides.
it's always fun to get the rides that you know Just give you your time to people watch.
That's the writer in us.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. One of my favorite things when I go to Austria or when I went to Austria or France or whatever, we always look for mountains because we don't have any in the Netherlands. We had one and we completely mined it down to a hill. So that should tell you enough. In
Oh
any case,
Lord.
Oh, yeah. I
you
get
have your
I get
cable
upset.
card.
I get upset because people go, "Oh, Illinois is so flat. Illinois is so flat." It's called rolling prairie land for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It does go up and down. You just can't perceive a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's not flat. There's plenty of strip mines.
And my grandfather worked in one.
I used to have to drive over one every day for work.
But so what a lot of skiing resorts do in summer because they don't have, you know, they can't allow you to ski on flat ground. Well, you could ski over the grass, but it's not as fun. Um, they will have rodel carts, which are tiny carts that you sit in and you control the speed with a handle and you just go down a track. 90% of the time, you always have to go up with a cable cart.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
One, the cable cart is awesome. You're just free dangling there in a chair on a single line, and you're like, "Am I gonna die?"
Yeah.
Then it's
Mm.
high. It's getting less high. Now it's higher again. Oh, we're on top of the mountain, and then you can go down the entire mountain at 60 miles an hour in a tiny cart along a track. It's better than a roller coaster, trust me. If you ever get a
Sounds it.
chance in Austria, look for one.
There's a video somewhere of one of those tracks. So
Oh yeah.
technically, I've done that because someone went down, yeah, and you're seeing everything they see, and I'm like, I'm fine. I've done that now.
Mm-hmm. Don't have to risk life and limb
Yep.
because somebody else did, and their camera was in focus.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Beautiful scenery.
Mm.
Here we go.
But yeah.
Now I don't know if it still exists. There was one in North Carolina that basically you took what amounted to a ski lift going up. So it's like Mike was saying, it's like a park bench suspended from a wire,
Yeah.
and you go all the way up, and you can come down that way. But at the top, they called it Ghost Town in the Sky, and it was a Western themed
Ooh.
park. They had cowboys and bad guys have bank robbers have a shootout on a regular schedule. Different performances timed for when the most tourists were there at the time. At the bottom, there was a place to where you could um, pretend you were a gold miner in California in 1849, and you could pan for um, garnets and rubies because there wasn't that much gold in North Carolina, but there are some nice specimens of gemstones that you
Cool.
can you can actually yeah. Um, one of my relatives went there and stayed, didn't go up to the theme park, but was panning through and found about five very small garnets and one nice size little ruby, and
Ooh.
had it took it to a jewelry store, a jewelry shop, not a store, and had the gemstones mounted on, I believe it was a ring. It might have been a pair of earrings as well as a ring. Um, but and you buy a bucket of dirt, basically, and you have the fun of panning through it, and you get to keep whatever you find of any value. And they had a great time and came out with some fantastic jewelry after taking it home and having it polished up and
Yeah.
cut and whatnot. And hey, that's fabulous. That is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely fabulous.
Well, if you want to experience a rodelbahn, I actually found one.
Oh, okay. Uh, well, ready to add it whenever you want me
Oh
to.
no, it's ready to go.
Okay.
Just gotta click play. There we go. So this one goes up by a track. So the cart is actually being pulled by a rope. And there you go. And you can fall out of these things. Like you can go up to like 60 miles an hour.
Summertime bobsled.
Yeah, it is a bobsled.
Yeah, it's a luge without snow.
Yeah. And yeah, you control the speed yourself. So you're holding a brake. If you push forward, it lets go. And if you pull backwards again, you slow down. And trust me, falling out of one of these things because you're going too fast is not fun. It hurts a lot.
Personal experience.
It's a lot of fun, and every single one of them is different because they shape them to the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
I know a road like this in North Carolina.
Oh, I know plenty of them in France.
I know some roads like this in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like I-40, which is supposed to be 55 miles an hour, but if you go that slow, you're going to get run over by an 18-wheeler.
Hmm. I would like to run you over with my truck. Beep beep. You don't know that one?
I've never heard those words to that tune.
Okay, I have to look that one up then. Oh my god, that is the best. And there you go.
Boom.
Poof. Okay, let me.
Yeah, the best time I ever had on I-40, I was still riding motorcycles. And that was
Okay, here we go. I
very
would like to run
impressive.
you over with my truck.
I don't know if we can get away with this, but
No, no, no. It's actually it's fine.
I would like to run you over with my truck. It is an 18-wheeler, so good luck. I got 40 tons behind me and a grill guard in the front. I would like to run you over with my truck.
Boop, boop. See? So this, okay, I'm a mover. We sing this regularly when we have a group of cyclists besides us as well.
actually, there are folks on the canal boat videos that would love that because they have kayakers and
Oh,
they are driving a 40-ton steel boat,
yeah.
and these kayakers just cut in front of them back and forth, and then the fiberglass cabin cruisers do the same damn thing, and it's like we can't stop in less than 100 yards, and we're only doing 4 miles an hour. All
Yep.
right, we got a lot of momentum.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Good luck.
Oh,
I grew up on a lake. My dad had a speedboat and a pontoon boat eventually too. And when he passed, he's had just the pontoon boat, which I might end up getting. I don't know. Um, that's going to be logistics of figuring out where the hell to store that in the winter. But anyways, I digress. So there's a lot of jet skiers on the lake, and they did not pay attention to anyone going on the lake except for what they were wanting to do. The thing is, usually when we were in the speedboat and it was bright daylight out and we could cause a wake, we were pulling skiers.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling skiers, you can't do quick maneuvers because you've got the possibility of injuring the person behind you. And you'd have these jet skiers just go, you know what? I'm going to do some weird, silly spiral thing here. No, you're not.
Yep.
So I totally feel your pain.
Last time I saw a lake that had speedboats and jet skis on it, the speedboat luckily was not pulling skiers, but the jet skis would run up behind the speedboat that was going flat out and try doing what I call what we used to do with the tractor, and what I did with the dune buggy a few times was
Jump their wake.
oh yeah, that they would use the wake like the dune buggy would use a terrace in a field and go for see how much air they could catch.
Mm-hmm. Get some
And
airtime.
you got to be going at a respectable turn of speed there to get a jet ski to get airtime. You know, it, believe me, it was much more fun in the dune buggy because you could get airtime and not have to be going that fast. But and you didn't have to look.
Catch
You didn't have
airtime
to.
in a 75 Impala.
Oh, I swear. If the bloody dune bug had not been so labor intensive to keep in repair, and it wasn't mechanical, it was basically um, the valve cover gaskets needed to be replaced frequently because they wouldn't seat right, and you always had an oil leak. And with a Volkswagen engine, an oil leak is not conducive to the long life of the engine, and they are air cooled at that. And plus, I had to keep a stock of different parts, electrical parts that would, once the engine warmed up, if it rained or if you went through a puddle, the distributor cap would split.
Oh.
And you would not be able to drive without putting another distributor cap on because the timing for the engine was ruined if that thing was not precisely in the right place. And points. Wound up buying a whole box of points for a Ford Mustang because that's what fit on the Volkswagen motor. Yeah, and I'm going, if I had kept that thing, I would have replaced the point system with and the distributor cap with the solid state, which would not have shattered if it got wet, and wouldn't have to replace the points anymore. But the electronic ignition sort of system. But I got tired of replacing valve cover gaskets every 3 months, so I got rid of it. I really did. Um, the way I got the thing was really interesting. Went to Florida. Guy had a dune buggy. I said, "Damn, if you ever get tired of that and want to sell it, let me know. I'll buy it from you." He said, "Give me $1,000. It's yours right now." I wound up having to rent a truck and haul it home. Put my money where my mouth was. It was
Mhm.
fun. It was fun, but it was too expensive to maintain.
Yeah. Um, no, in the Netherlands, there's a lot of cycling roads, and I swear to God, they are the best. So, not having a license myself, you get used to, have pretty much having highways for cyclists.
Hmm.
There is no limit to how fast you can go on a bicycle. Well, technically there is, but
Yeah, but
nobody
that's
cares.
physics.
Exactly. That's just physics. They say 30 kilometers an hour or 20 miles. Trust me, if I'm on my mountain bikes without my panniers and whatever, or I'm on my dad's racing bike, uh, 30, 35 miles an hour is easy because it's all
Hmm.
flat and you just. The problem comes when you go to places like Amsterdam, where the city is too old to consider bicycle roads a viable option because they have to have traffic as well, and the streets are tiny because it's a 600-year-old city. And cyclists do not care. Doesn't matter if they're on a city bike, whatever. The moment you get out of the big cities, it's very easy. Like they have their own road. Like you got your um province roads, your highways, everything. Cyclists are not allowed there. We got you're going 80 kilometers an hour at least. So separate roads. Any country would want separate cycling roads because they save a lot of people.
Yep. Yeah, over here they think they're doing real good if they give you a 3 foot wide lane on the side of a major super highway.
Yeah, no.
Nope. If you're on a bicycle, you don't have 2.5 tons of steel and plastic as shielding.
Yeah,
You might as well be on a set of roller skates or a skateboard.
yeah.
You've got nothing but whatever armor you can buy and strap to you.
And here is the worst part. They're making e-bikes now that are classified as motorcycles. They go 50 miles an hour, which means they
Hmm.
are allowed on highways and provincial roads, province roads. You're driving around on a frame that's not even the weight of a person. The only thing making it close to it is the battery. Uh-oh, they're
My
coming to take
ride's
me
here.
away.
Yeah,
Like,
they're coming to take me away. Haha.
hee hee, ho ho. Finally found me, and they're one continent. They're a complete ocean away.
Mm.
Sucks to be them.
Oh Lord.
Actually, it's after 1 on a Saturday night slash Sunday morning, and that is the only ambulance I've heard all day. That's unusual.
Oh wow.
We had
Well,
one come by yesterday, I do believe, after I got home from work. It was either Friday afternoon or Thursday afternoon. And when you hear an ambulance out here, it's it's somebody who just had a heart attack or
Hmm.
something else equally
Yeah.
uh,
yeah. No.
bad. And if it's an ambulance, it's already happened. If it's a police car, They're on the way to what just happened, and if you see a police car, it's probably a traffic accident. But
Hmm.
where we live, um, it's almost halfway along the road. I mean, the whole road is about 5 miles long, and it's in between two major highways.
Ah,
Yeah.
And if they come by our house heading for one highway or the other, uh, you got a 50-50 chance right there of it being um, somebody you're going to hear about at church the next day or the next Sunday, or something that's going to wind up in the paper.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And neither one is something you ever want to see.
I live very close to a fire department. Um, the yeah, live close to a fire department, and they also house ambulances.
Hmm.
So they have them on call, and you're always less than 3 minutes away. That is a law in the Netherlands. Wherever you live, there has to be an ambulance 3 minutes away from you at most. Every like if you have an ambulance, fire truck, or police car with their sirens on, and you block them, that is a 1,500 euro fine.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It-
Yeah.
I hear the fire truck a lot. 90% of the time, it's a cat stuck in a tree. Fire safety is a thing here as well because, dear Lord, I don't know what the Netherlands is up to, but safety regulations are the best in the world or something because, man, it's it's overkill. I'm not allowed to lift more than 50 pounds on my own. No, with two people, I'm not allowed to lift more than 50 pounds. Good luck getting a washing machine up a flight of stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, rules are made to be
Mm.
broken in those cases. It's
Yeah. Where
Yeah,
we
that.
live, Danville only has two roads, north and south, that go totally through town. We're on the west one. Plus, Vermilion Street also happens to be Illinois Route 1. We do have a fire station just 3 blocks north of us. So we're hearing at least two sirens a day.
yeah.
And like I said, when we went through here, and when I think Dan knows the story, we've never heard from the guy who delivered the washer dryer. We had to go with an apartment washer and dryer set, the one above the other, because they are now making washers and dryers so big that even taking the door off, we could not have gotten them through the door to the basement.
Yeah.
So these days, they're not using dollies like they used to. They use those straps to move, which I understand. They do make it easier to lift.
Yes.
Hmm.
Our basement steps are very steep and
Hmm.
narrow. It's the house is almost 100 years old.
Yep.
Carl says, "Are you sure you don't want to use a dolly? I've got one if you don't." And the guy's like, "No, we're fine." Yeah, he beat the washer dryer down the steps by mere seconds, and it hit him, and they went ahead. He's like, I'm fine." Carl came running up for bandages because he was bleeding,
Hmm.
and they go ahead and they set set it up in the laundry room, and he points to this dent and he says, "Yeah, that's where my head hit. Fortunately, it's on the side, so it doesn't interfere with
Hmm.
operations." But it's like, dude, I hope you're going to the hospital after
The
you
washer
leave
and dryer
here.
was like, I know a shortcut. Come on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Talk about the Great American Scream Machine going down the stairs with a washing machine chasing you.
Hmm.
I'd let out a yelp or two.
Yeah.
So we don't really have washer dryer combos here, and sizes are regulated because most stairs are 60 centimeters or 2 feet.
Mhm.
So anything bigger than that, and you're not going to be able to get it up to the attic. And for some fucking reason, the standard is to put a washing machine in the attic.
Yeah, because that way gravity drains it. But you still got to have the
Every
water pumped up.
all of our water is under, like, all of our water lines are underground. Our sewer system is one of the best in the world. Everything is underground. It doesn't need to be drained with gravity. It doesn't need to be flushed with speed. It is already going down at least fucking 10 feet in the ground before you hit the sewer system. It makes absolutely no sense.
It's the
People
way
just
it's
don't
always
want to
been
stand.
done. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the way we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's
Yep.
a new thing.
Oh, really?
It's a new thing.
Oh, wow.
It's the worst. It absolutely makes no sense. And then nowadays, washing machine, like you used to have, and most washing machines still do, have a strip on the back that you can hold,
Mm-hmm.
if you're walking on top. Miele, there is no heavier. Like their slogan is there is no better. Trust me, there is no heavier. They nowadays removed the strip because they made a handle that you can latch in there and pull it up like that. They don't deliver those. They are only for the delivery guys who actually have to, place them in the people's homes when they get a new washing machine, when they order one. And you got to move them. There's only a tiny metal strip. The amount of cuts that I've had on my hands thanks to
Uh,
those bloody things,
No pun intended.
no pun
Yeah.
intended.
oh, boy.
Those things are out for blood. Like they want your life
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
because you're halfway down this flight of stairs and you're going, I'm slipping and I'm slipping more and more because the blood is being used as lubricant right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Um,
for years, I guess, well, they started out, would have started out with hand washing in the basement. And I understand there's still the original clothesline down there from where they would hang stuff up.
Yeah.
And then after they added plumbing to the house, I can kind of understand why they put it down there. For one thing, hey, the laundry room's already down here.
Yeah.
There's drains in the floors for whatever purpose. But Carl has to do all the laundry because I can't get down those stairs anymore with my knee.
Hmm.
In fact, he is. It's the one time I allow him to use the word forbid to me. I'm forbidden to go down there. It would be easier, but when we had to change the washer, it's like, well, can we put one on? Nope, there's no way to get water there. Nope, can't put. There's no place that we could put the water
Yeah.
for it. The only way we have bathrooms, and you could tell that they were added later to really
Hmm.
good sized walk-in closets must have been, or maybe children's rooms.
Yeah.
But instead of putting the pipe under the floor, they put the pipes down, and then they put a floor down. So you
Mhm.
have to step up to go into the bathrooms, even the loo downstairs.
Hey.
Hey, Kiri.
Gary.
Hello. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
Yep.
Doing well. You missed all the stuff about roller coasters and bobsleds and ski lifts and things.
Oh man, I don't know if I can go through a roller coaster.
That was the general opinion.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, Kiri told his joke earlier, and it reminded me of a joke that I had heard.
Oh boy.
This elderly couple went to the doctor and told the doctor, we think we're having problems having sex. We'd like to, if you don't mind, we'd like to do it here in the office and have you watch to make sure that we're doing it right and that we're not going to hurt ourselves.
Yeah.
So the doctor reluctantly agrees, and they have they have sex, and afterwards he's like, "Nope, looks just fine to me. And keep on doing what you're doing." Well, they come back a month later. We need to do this again here. Well, okay. And after they finish, he's like, "No, I still don't see what your problem is. You're fine." Sends them on their way. And they come back the third month, and he says, "Now wait a minute. I've watched you twice now, to my embarrassment. You're doing fine. Why do you keep doing this?" And the man says, "Well, it's this way. I have a roommate. She has a husband, and hotel rooms are too expensive. With Medicare, it's only $60 to do it here."
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
That reminds me, I said I need to tell you folks my IHOP story.
Oh, yes.
Oh
Uh-oh.
boy.
So, Misty Crow and I went to IHOP for breakfast because things were going good. There was a decent amount of money in the account, so there was plenty of to splurge for breakfast for the three of us. So we had a good meal. Because there was dairy in my meal, I had to make sure that I used the restroom before I went so that I can make sure not to soil the car on the way home.
Mhm.
Because although I really enjoy dairy, dairy does not enjoy me anymore. But anyways, so I'm sitting there and I'm in the stall taking care of business, and of course there's music playing, and I'm like, something's off about this music. I can't quite figure out what the hell's going on with this music. And then there's a pause between songs. And in that pause between songs, all of a sudden I hear from the stall next to me, over speakers from a cell phone, fuck
Oh
my
my
ass.
god.
I'm like, someone's working in the IHOP back. Truck stops I can understand. Truck stops, I've been in the next stall when people have been doing that in a truck stop. But in an IHOP, I'm like, earbuds, come on. They're not expensive. And
Yeah.
Misty Crow loved to bring that story up all the time.
At least Carl and I went into a restroom where it was only a one deal restroom. It wasn't a communal one.
There
And
is such a thing as a bed.
I did not believe it. Did not believe that I talked him into that. Dad was in the hospital, as usual. Mom was in with him and we were waiting. Why did you slip over there? And he's like, what? Leave the door unlocked. What? Yeah, go ahead. So he did. And he left the door unlocked, and I slipped in and locked the door. And he's like, I mean, his eyes were like, why are you in here? And I'm like, do you have to go to the bathroom? And he's like, no. I said, well, neither do I, but I have to do something else. No, we were younger and precious. Yeah, we were in our 30s.
No, that's fine.
Oh, the stories I could tell.
I'll tell you another thing,
It's not
too.
that kind of channel. Sorry.
A restaurant, a rest stop along the road. Don't assume that if you get in that last one and leave the car door open that nobody's going to see you, because there's always going to be some dumb son of a bitch coming the wrong way. And yeah, it happened.
Going, my wild and misspent youth, where did it go?
I know, right?
And that's why we're in the shape we're in now. Dan.
Oh, that would be it.
I'll tell you, doing it at a IHOP actually does sound pretty fun. Just particularly.
There was only one person in there. They were
watching it.
Yeah, the cell phone was the only partner they had. Yes.
And that's why I was saying earbuds.
They're not expensive.
Now doing it, a couple doing it at the IHOP bathroom.
I wouldn't have been as offended.
Well, are you sure that it wasn't a threesome in a way?
Might have been, but it was still on the iPad or the cell phone. So.
Might have been
I mean, you can't hold those phones with one hand.
No,
well, that would make it a little bit difficult to manipulate the volume controls. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dan. This is not the green room.
Hey, we just gained another viewer, so I don't.
And he left.
No. Well, if it's you from the FBI, Charlie, hope you're having a good night.
Oh, if it's Charlie, he came in here just because I'm in here.
Yeah, you got a stalker.
Okay, that's one way of looking at it.
Secret admirer, is that a better way of saying it?
Voyeur.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That takes care of the guy in the stall next to the bridge at the IHOP.
To mess with people, whenever I have a phone that is capable of being used as a shareable hotspot, I always name my hotspot NSA surveillance van number 3.
Oh, that I do the same thing. My phone identifies as an FBI surveillance van.
I mean, you got to do it. Might as well make it fun.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and the interesting sounds you hear outside when you find out someone's out war driving.
Mm-hmm.
Now
yes.
That trip I told you about that where my high school class went to Disney World and had a great time and got to ride some of the roller coasters, but not all of them. There was a lot of pranking going on in the hotel.
No shit.
Uh-oh.
some of my classmates had discovered that there was an internal telephone network that didn't have to go through a regular telephone network,
Oh,
and
Oh boy.
they were calling from room to room, making prank calls, and I was in a room with three or four other guys it was marching band basically, and they were going, "Hey, we are really tired of this. We'd like to be able to get some sleep here. We got to get back on the bus and go home tomorrow morning." And the next time the phone went off,
Uh-oh.
I held up my finger and I go, "I got this." Picked up the phone, go, "Orlando Police Department."
Click.
We didn't get another call for about 3 hours. I mean, I could swear they were running up and down the rooms going, "Hey, don't call this number."
Oh my god.
It would work much better now that my voice is a little bit lower, but oh heavens. I was not a big guy in high school. Basically same height, much skinnier. So my voice was not as low pitched as it is now. But
Nonetheless, you're going through low quality sound, so you're fine.
of a telephone, yeah. I tried to pitch it as low and adult as I could make it sound, but the reaction of click was all
Yep.
I was looking for.
When we lived in Catlin, my brothers were in grade school, and their coach was good friends with my parents, and he would answer his phone, "Jake Mulebarn, which jackass am I speaking to?" And the last time he did that, it was his boss on the other end.
Whoops.
Yeah, he quit doing that.
My wife's grandmother used to answer the phone that way. After
All
we got
right.
married, we were in our 30s. I've told you guys how I used to react when Microsoft was calling to tell me there was a virus on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard the story, Carrie?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So my youngest, I had trained to scream bloody murder like they were being beaten.
Mm.
So what I did is I would nod at my youngest, put it on speakerphone, take my belt off, and just start beating the hell out of the couch. Who brought a Microsoft product into this house? We are Apple only. Meanwhile, someone in the background is being, screaming like they are being beaten. And all of a sudden the person on the other one's like, shit, click. Another one of my favorites is, when Discover, MasterCard, and Visa are calling to tell me that they're going to forgive me all of my credit card debt.
Mm-hmm.
Because the brand can definitely do that and outrate the bank that it's issued through. My favorite thing to do is answer like, because answering like this, answering with confidence, hang on, we're not going to get this person.
Yeah.
Get a female voice, especially since a lot of these folks are from District 5, Calcutta, India. That is a very misogynistic culture.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be like, we can get her. You answer with any type of trepidation in your voice, oh, we can get them. You sound kind of like an old person, and they're going to jump on you like a fat kid on a cupcake. So I would keep them on the phone for as long as possible. And then eventually, like, oh, no, okay, credit cards? No, I don't have any more of those anymore, Sonny. Last year, my son cut them up after some guy from India tried to scam me with them. Click. I engage these fucks on the phone for as long as possible because the longer
waste their
I
time.
have them on the phone, the less likely they were able to call someone like my dad or someone else who would be foolish enough to give them the information and stuff like that. So, my hacking foo is not cool enough to try like a Jim Browning or pierogi or Trilogy Media type stuff. So I have to make do where I can.
I have to tell this one on myself. There was a time when, let's just say, I was amused easily by answering the phone with different smart aleck remarks. And most of the time, the people that would call me were either spam or my friends who would get the joke. So this one instance, I had read this response in a novel I really liked, and it was a nice joke. It was clean. It was just pretty much semi-innocent, and I used my own name instead of the name of the protagonist in the novel. And phone rang, and I picked it up, and I go, "Hollifield's home for wayward women, Mr. Wayward speaking." It was my mother. Now, this tells you about the quality of my childhood. Mom got the joke.
Didn't recognize the number once, and so I picked up, and I'm, doing my hello, and hi, this is Centers for Pain Control. May I speak to Richard, please? Oh, son of a bitch, it's my doctor. I'm like, yeah, just one moment, Rich. Yeah, how can I help you? Yeah, they were scheduling a procedure for them to burn some of the nerves in my lower back. So yeah, that was interesting.
Well, at least they weren't trying to schedule removing your sense of humor, because we value that.
When my mom signed herself in the home, we of course took her phone number off of everything of hers and put mine instead, and changed her address to ours. And she started getting stuff from this church, which not only wasn't the church she went to, but it wasn't even the denomination of church she went to. And I'm like, okay, fine. Call them up. Please take her off your mailing list. She's in the home. Well, then mom passes. And about 5 months after she passes, I get another phone call from them. I get a phone call instead of mail. And I'm like, who's this and who are you calling for? And they say it again. I'm like, how can you do that to me? You know she's dead. And now you're doing that to me. And why are you? And I just blubbered and became incoherent. And the lady on the other end says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. And I never got another phone call. But I did get another mailing. So I called up and I said, she's dead. Please take her off your list. We're sorry. We'll do that. And then the next year I get another one. And so I call up and I sob incoherently about how they wounded me terribly and woken up all these bad memories of how my mother suffered. So, she didn't suffer before she died, but how she suffered so badly, and I could do nothing but stand there and watch her, and the doctors didn't know and they're like, "Oh my God, we're so sorry," and finally got her off the list. But I hung up, and Carl looks at me and says, "You're too damn good at that."
That sounds a lot like after my second wife died. She had a DUI at the time, and her probation officer called the house wanting to know why she missed her meeting and why she didn't make her payment that week. And I said, "Well, she died. I don't know what to tell you. She won't be coming in for meetings anymore, and she definitely won't be making any more payments." And the lady probation officer was trying to harangue me into paying her weekly payments to the probation office every week, even though the woman was dead. And I'm going, that that's not right. That's not right. And she kept right on going, was getting in a threatening tone of voice. And I said, "Well, let me call my lawyer and we'll just see what the judge has to say about this." Click. Never heard from him again. I'm going, yeah, they were trying to scam me into paying a deceased person's fines. And I'm going,
nope,
ain't gonna happen. I've never had a DUI. You didn't. My name's not on any of that. Just cause we were together doesn't mean I'm responsible for her. Um,
no.
Court fees or whatever. You're just gonna have to do without that money every week from now on. Seriously, people will, if there is some kind of legal obligation for something, even if the person who is obligated is no longer among the living, they will try and scam you into assuming that debt.
Where there's a will, there's a weasel.
Or a bunch of anxious relatives.
Yeah, weasels.
Oh.
That reminds me, I gotta call my lawyer. See,
I wasn't that bad.
No, if I want a passport so I could go to Germany in a few years, I have to change my name to my name.
Okay, sounds like there's a fee involved and some paperwork.
Oh yeah, it's gonna cost me. But yeah, thanks to 9/11, my full name is Donna Carlene Baker. And I had a poem accepted to be published, and I had to sign the contract, but I had submitted it under just Donna Carlene because I love my given name. It's a beautiful name. And Baker is so common. And they send a contract, and I'm like, how can I sign this? Because I don't want to put Donna Carlene as a pen name. It's not a pen name. It's my name.
Yeah.
So I go and talk to my lawyer, and he says, well, how's your name on your birth certificate? And I'm like, oh, it's Donna Carlene Baker. And he's, as long as you don't commit fraud, you can use that any combination you want. I'm like, I like that idea. So I went and had my Social Security changed, and my driver's license changed. No problem.
Yeah.
This was back when in my early 20s. So I go down last November to get my driver's license renewed, and Illinois has this real ID thing that you have to get in order to fly within the states.
Most states do nowadays.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I see no reason for it because I would rather drive somewhere than fly in the because I like to see that shit. And Carl likes to see that stuff. But I'm like, might as well get it. So I take down a bill with my name on it, not Carl's, but with mine. I take down my social security number, my social security card. Of course, there's my driver's license and my birth certificate. She starts to make it out in Baker, and I'm like, no, just Donna Carlini. She says, no, it's Baker on your birth certificate. That's what it has to be on.
Ah.
And I'm like, forget it. Just renew my driver's license, which she renewed in Donna Carlene. And I'm thinking, oh, you're not putting up the same argument to put Baker on the end of my driver's license? So I stewed about it for about 6 months, and then I'm like, okay, let me check on passport. Yeah, passport. You need either the birth certificate or your name change.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to do it. So we were upgrading our wills anyway. And I told the lawyer what I needed, and she's like, okay, we're going to have to change your social security. Nope, here's my social security card. It's already been changed. I'm collecting Medicare and social security. It's like, oh, okay. Driver's license, there it is. Okay, why do we need this change? And I said, because I like a passport.
Mm-hmm.
And it means, I don't know what it's going to cost. I need to put in, well, they did it for me, but I had to put in a notice in the paper for 3 weeks running that I was changing my name.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the same thing as, when you get a divorce, you have to put a notice in that you're getting a divorce and you're no longer, you're not responsible for your soon-to-be ex-spouses. It's the same difference.
Yeah, we had to go through that with Lindsay before we could get married. She had to file for divorce from her third husband, who absconded with her retirement money and maxed out her credit cards, their joint credit card. And
So,
I had to pay all that off, and we had to not only put a notice in the paper where we live, but in New Mexico, where she moved away from, and in Washington State, where we suspected her third husband had run away to.
Mm-hmm. So my 3rd week is just passed. So then, and the lawyer will go down for me. I don't even have to go down to the courthouse and get the paper signed. And then all I have to do is pay the lawyer at the time I pick up my name change certificate.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a part of me going, this is the irony of crap, that I have to change my name to my name.
Yeah.
Well, when we got married, I'd already been published. Carl was a counselor with ORS instead of at IT at the time. His specialty was, no need to be politically correct, it was the crazy people in Vermilion County. His brother was a cop. Witzman is a very singular name. My brother-in-law did the genealogy. Only one Witzman came to the States. So, Carl says, if you're asked, is he related to so and so, Witzman just say yes because they are. So he's like, it would be much safer for you, as well as being published already, to just not change your name. And I'm like, well, that's okay. Then I find out that a cousin of his married a Donna, so there was already another a Donna Witzman. I am the only Donna Carlene. Yes, I Googled myself. There were 4 others, Donna Carlene, whatever, 2 of whom are dead by now. But I'm the only just Donna Carlene in the United States. And seeing how my ego is, that's how it should be.
There are
This world ain't big enough.
Oddly enough, there's also a ton of Richard Asplund Juniors. I am not the only Richard Asplund in our firm's database for contacts that includes our clients and stuff like that. There's actually a securities group that has a Richard D. Asplund. So the middle initial is the same as well as their president. And then another member is David R. Asplund. And I'm just like, that's just funny. Because you've got my first name and middle name as individuals in our contact database for the firm.
Well, that was another thing. There are 3 separate Baker families in Vermilion County. All 3 families have a Donna. 2 of us are the same age, and 1 is like 3 years younger. Taking the Baker off of my name helped me that way too, because I couldn't when I went to get a loan for a car, I couldn't do it because she'd already screwed up her credit.
Oh.
And they finally gave me the loan, but my father had to co-sign with me. So taking the Baker off fixed that a lot. But also, I kind of got tired of people saying, "Are you related to so-and-so Baker?" Like, that's like asking one Smith if they know another Smith, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I got a friend who's a black guy. Do you know
him?
Yeah.
Boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Was it something I said?
No. Not at all. And one of these days, I'm going to actually transfer that so I don't have to go back to the stupid clock stuff to be able to find that and the horse with the rubber duck. All right, here's one while we still got a little bit of time. When Lindsay moved here from New Mexico, she had to get her driver's license changed. And I do believe that we got married before her New Mexico license expired, and she needed to get a Georgia driver's license. So I told her she needed her old driver's license, some kind of bill with her name on it, and probably her birth certificate, and maybe her passport. I'm not sure, because it gets complicated when it gets down to passports, because Lindsay was born in Venezuela. Her British parents were there. She was born there. Her next oldest brother was born there as well. Technically, because she applied for citizenship when she came to the U.S., she has 3 passports: Venezuelan, British, and American. Now, we get down to the Georgia State Patrol office to renew driver's license, and she has to get a brand new one for Georgia because she's never lived in this state before. And she's got all the documentation that she could possibly want, except maybe a notarized letter from Moses or some shit that she was on the ark when he built it. Uh, Walked up to the counter. The lady took one look at the Venezuelan passport, took one look at the New Mexico driver's license, and goes, "We need to see your green card,"
Ah.
because evidently the lady at the DMV thought New Mexico was a state in Old Mexico.
What?
Oh
Yes,
my
believe it or
God.
not, Carrie, there are people that are stupid enough to
Mm-hmm.
where they think New Mexico is part of the actual
Mexico.
country, Mexico.
Still.
Oh
And
my
because
God.
she had a South American birth certificate, which is the size of a bed sheet and beautifully calligraphed, uh, and here she is, little bitty white woman with a British accent, and they think she's Mexican.
Hmm.
I'm going, what universe do you attempt to live in that,
State employee.
yeah,
Hmm.
the IQ point drops to a -10. Um, it took hours and hours and hours to explain to this woman she's already an American citizen. She doesn't have a green card. She has citizenship papers, which Lindsay
Wow.
had with her to
Mm-hmm.
prove. I mean, she's used to people being stupid, so she brought all the paperwork. I mean, it took forever to this woman to just realize that she's not Mexican. Okay. I guess we had to give you a driver's license now.
Hmm.
I'm going, Jesus. If used to, I could renew my driver's license online. Computers aren't stupid as people. It
Yeah.
didn't take 2 hours, 3 hours. It just took click, 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 click.
Hmm.
Um, then 9/11 happened, and Homeland Security happened, and
Mm-hmm.
everything got complicated because anybody that wasn't European descended native born was suddenly suspect of being a terrorist.
Yep.
So here we go. Here's somebody that was not native born, but was European descended and had paperwork to prove it, but happened to have been born way south of the border.
Hmm.
Now, it took hours, and believe me, getting her a passport after that was much easier. I mean, oh, you got $150? She can have a passport. Just fill out this form. Yeah, that's all it
Yeah.
took was money.
Hmm.
Driver's license, you had to overcome local prejudice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I went
Yeah.
to school with a lot of these people, so I know exactly where they come from. The
Sad.
Daughters of the Confederacy and the Ku Klux Klan are not yet dead. More's
Nope.
the pity.
Yep.
Yep.
Uh, one of these days, the world is going to be a better place, and it's going to have to come after a lot of people that are set in their ways and still reliving colonial times have failed to bring up their descendants in the same sort of uh, we hate everybody that isn't us
Mm-hmm.
point of view.
That's still going to take a few generations.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. I figured it'd be done by now, but it, evidently I had too much faith in human kindness. Um, then again, I was alive during the late 50s, early 60s, and I saw the civil rights movement get started and
Mm-hmm.
gain some traction and keep on going as much as they can since then. But I know there are still holdouts that
And
basically, if people could be dinosaurs, these people would be,
Yep.
well, I hate to say ankylosaurs or triceratops because those were noble beasts and these are just beasts. Oh,
and it
God.
doesn't help that some of these folks are winning congressional seats now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep. Well, it's that time, sweetie.
yeah, I know, I know. Well, folks, we got to tell the bedtime story and say goodnight to everybody. Um, we've got 2 viewers that stuck with us the whole night, or maybe it was several that bounced in and out, but we still had 2 viewers. Um,
Well, one of them's me.
well, didn't have to
One of
say
them.
that. Didn't have to say that. I was hoping it was, somebody
I don't
we
know who
didn't
the other
know.
2 are.
Anyway, Carl will catch it on the replay.
Yep.
Screw it. That'll be
But
3.
ladies,
Hey,
have a
I've
wonderful
got
night.
31 subscribers, people. Like, subscribe, share, whatever.
And don't watch porn at IHOP.
Yes.
If you do use earbuds.
Don't try and get a driver's license in Georgia if you've got a out of the U.S. birth certificate, unless you carry all the paperwork, because you got to
Yes.
have all the receipts. Now,
It is IHOP, not IPOP.
well, for this one guy, it probably was if you hadn't got on to him about earbuds.
Oh, and the cherry on the top, no pun intended, is as I exited the bathroom, very loudly, I said to the dining room, some people really need to invest in earbuds. So when the guy that was in there came out after me, everyone had to give him strange looks like, the hell's going on? Because
Nuts.
after all, my name is Dick. I get to live up to it.
It's a challenge and a responsibility.
Someone's got to
duty.
do it.
And an honor.
And on that note, folks,
Night, everybody.
wait till you see what we come up with next week.
Oh, boy.
If we can
Or
come up with
whenever.
something next week.
All right. Love y'all, everybody. Good night.
Night.
Good
Good night.
So you're like,
Transmission overload. System will shut down. will shut down. System will shut down. System will shut down.